Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Tom, and today we're talking about research that lots of people have been doing about laughter. When you think something is funny, you just start laughing. You can't control yourself, and laughter's going on all the time. Some people are so sad and they don't laugh very much, but people like me, I laugh at anything. Oh, look at that paperclip on the table. That is just so funny to me.
That's weird. Yeah, laughter's good for you. Even smiling can make you feel better. So try it. If you're having a bad day, if you're feeling down, smile a little. See if it just makes you feel a little better. It has me. I know it picks me up. So we're talking about some insights into laughter, what people have learned through all of their research about laughter. We'll get a little bit smarter and feel a little bit better after this unit. First, though, we're going to read through the entire thing.
It's no secret that laughter is beneficial for both our bodies and our minds. Laughter reduces stress, boosts our immune systems, increases blood flow, and temporarily relieves pain. A study in Norway even found that people with a strong sense of humor outlive those who don't laugh as much. However, laughter can also tell us more about the way we interact with each other. Social scientists at the University of California, San Diego have recently discovered that laughter is an effective indicator of a person's social status within a group. By listening to some conversations between fraternity brothers, a group with a built-in social hierarchy, Assistant Professor Christopher Ovice was able to distinguish the laughs of the high-status brothers from those of the low-status brothers. Overall, high-status laughter was bolder, louder, and higher in pitch, whereas low-status laughter was often constrained, shorter, and somewhat infrequent. Furthermore, when the researchers played the recordings to a group of undergraduate students, the students were able to accurately identify the dominant and submissive laughers. Ovice's study highlights the power of dynamics inherent in such a social hierarchy, showing the more power someone has, the less inhibited their communication becomes. A more comprehensive study conducted by Greg Bryant from the University of California, Los Angeles, found that laughter can also reveal two people's relationship status. Bryant recorded the laughter between groups of 2 women, 2 men, and 1 man and a woman, only some of whom already knew each other. The listeners were comprised of 966 people from various social classes and cultural groups. Bryant found that listeners from every society could pinpoint which laughers might have been friends or strangers based upon a short audio clip 61% of the time. These research findings demonstrate just how complex human relationships can be.
Okay, guys, let's look at the title here. We've got insights, incredible insights into laughter. If you have an insight into something, you have an understanding of it, maybe a deeper understanding of it than most people. So you feel like you understand it a lot more. So incredible insights about laughter. What have we learned? Well, it's no secret, which means everybody knows this. It's no secret that laughter is beneficial for both our bodies and our minds. If something's beneficial for you, it just means it's good for you. It's favorable. It's advantageous. It helps you. And I found that to be true. I have a couple of friends that I laugh with more than others, and every time I finish talking to them and I hang up the phone, I'm just so happy because we laugh and laugh and laugh. And it does reduce stress. It boosts our immune systems. Your immune system is a system in your body that fights germs and disease and keeps you healthy. It also increases blood flow, which is good for you, and temporarily, or for just a short time, it relieves pain. If you relieve something, you lessen it, you make it so it's not so serious or severe. So it can help you feel a lot better
Yeah, it certainly can. I did want to mention also, everybody, that sometimes people here in Taiwan that I talk to confuse the word smile with laugh, okay? It might be because of the Chinese character xiao, I don't know, but if you smile, that's just an expression on your face without any sound, okay? You smile for the camera when someone wants to take your picture, but if you think something's funny, if somebody has told you a funny joke or a funny story and you go like this that is laughter or that is laughing, okay? So we're saying also here that laughter is beneficial. Laughing or laughter, it's the same thing. It's beneficial. It helps our immune systems, increases our blood flow, and relieves pain temporarily. Pain, of course, is when you hurt. Temporarily just means for a short time. And to relieve just means to get rid of a problem. So let's go to Scandinavia here. A study in Norway even found that people with a strong sense of humor outlive those who don't laugh as much. Interesting. I guess I would have figured that might be the case, but this is a study in Norway or some research done in the country of Norway. Oslo is the capital, of course, and this study found that if you have a strong sense of humor, if you're making jokes all the time and you're laughing all the time and stuff like that, you will live longer than other people who are a bit too serious sometimes, who never smile, who never laugh, and to outlive just means to live longer.
Guess that's why my dad is living so healthy and well. He laughs all the time and makes jokes, so it does help you. In the next paragraph, we're going to be talking about some social scientists. If you study society and you do a lot of research, you'll be called a social scientist, and they're at the University of California. This particular University of California is located in San Diego. The University of California is throughout the state of California in different cities. This one's in San Diego, and they recently discovered that laughter is an effective indicator of a person's social status within a group. That's so interesting. I've never heard this before. If you're talking about an indicator, it's something that tells you about something. It's some sort of sign or symbol that lets you know what's going on. If effective means it works. So if you hear someone's laugh, you can actually tell if they're in a high social status or a low social status. Your status is, just where you rank within a group. And here we're talking about a high social status. Those people usually have more education, more money, more confidence. Usually they're professional. And low status, they might not be as wealthy, not have as much education. So what did they find out, Tom?
Well, they talked about a group of fraternity brothers, sometimes just called frat brothers. I don't know if you're familiar with this. I think it's 兄弟会 in Chinese. At American universities and possibly elsewhere, they have these things called fraternities, where male students can join them and they're a member of this particular group. But it's all men in fraternities. And then the female equivalent is sororities. I was not in a fraternity myself when I was in college, but my brother was. He was in, what was it, Sigma, Phi, Epsilon, or something like that. I don't remember which one it was. But in any case here, this is a group with a built-in social hierarchy. If it's built in, that means it's already there. It has that. And yes, of course, there are the senior brothers who are kind of dominant. And then you've got the Russias, basically, who are the new recruits who just joined. So they would be lower on the social hierarchy. A hierarchy just is, a different level of people in terms of their standing, who's more of a leader, who's more in the middle, and then who are the kind of worker bees, kind of the ones who don't really have any power.
No power, yeah. Well, this assistant professor, Christopher Ovice, was able to distinguish or tell the difference between the laughs of the high-status brothers from those of the low-status brothers. So he did some sort of research and test on this. Overall, high-status laughter was bolder, louder, and higher in pitch. Now, if you put that word overall, it means generally, right? Not everybody. It doesn't include every single person. But the majority, definitely, overall, the ones who had more power, higher status, they were just louder, bolder, and if it's higher in pitch, it's just a higher sounding laugh rather than a low. Ha ha ha! Ho ho ho! So the higher the pitch, they seem to have more power, a higher status. Now, in the reverse, in contrast, we had the low status laughter, and it was often constrained, which means it wasn't very free. It was kind of tight, kind of limited, didn't want to laugh a lot, shorter. Yeah, kind of like that. And somewhat infrequent, which means they didn't laugh very often either. They laughed less than the people with power.
So if you have high status, your laughter is going to be kind of like this.
You sound like you're going to murder someone.
Maybe that's a little scary. But if you're kind of low status, you'd kind of be laughing like...
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So that's the research that they conducted, and I guess most people would think that's a no-brainer. Yeah, people with higher status are going to be bolder and louder, and those of lower status are going to be more constrained, and they're going to be shorter and have a different pitch. So, indeed, furthermore, it goes on to say here, in addition, when the researchers played the recordings to a group of undergraduate students, the students were able to accurately identify the dominant and submissive laughters. Okay, so they're playing these recordings of people laughing to undergraduate students. These are students who do not have their BA or BS degrees yet. And they could accurately identify the dominant laughters. Accurately means correctly. They got the answer right. They could identify, they could tell which was which. They could tell, oh yes, that person is dominant. He's a leader. Whereas this one is kind of weak and is always picked on by the older brothers.
So if you do something accurately, guys, you do something correctly. It's very exact. It's right. So they were correct in identifying or telling these laughers apart. They were able to distinguish them. They could identify or pick out the dominant, the one with the power, and the submissive laughters. If you're submissive, it means you do what other people tell you to do. You don't try to boss anybody around. In fact, other people boss you. You're like, oh, what would you like? I'll do anything you want. So what they were able to do is actually pick out or identify the ones who had the power, the dominant people, and the ones that were less powerful or the more submissive laughers. Right now, guys, we're just about ready for a break. We're going to listen to our Chinese teacher for a bit, who's very dominant, of course, and then we'll be back.
Hello everyone, my name is Tina. 我们今天要探讨从一个人的 laughter 笑声可以看出怎么样隐藏在背后的秘密。首先来看到第一个空格的句子。A study in Norway even found that people with a strong sense of humor outlive blank one don't laugh as much. 一项呢在挪威进行的研究甚至发现一个比较有强烈幽默感的人，他会 outlive比谁活得还久呢？比那些比较不常笑的人还要活得更长寿。搭配这样子的文意以及句法呢，第一题我们可以选择 D 选项的 those who， 指的是 those who don't laugh as much， 比起那些不常笑的人，如果你有幽默感就会活得比较久。所以第一题的标准答案我们选择 D 选项。第二段的第一句提到Social scientists at the University of California, San Diego, have recently discovered that laughter is and blank 2 indicator of a person's social status within the group. 而在呢这个圣地亚哥的加州大学的社会科学家则发现笑声是人在团体当中一个社会地位的怎么样的指标。从后面的文章里面你会看得出来，从一个人的笑声可以得知他的社会地位的高跟低，所以可以说是一个怎么样的指标呢？第二题 A 选项写的 imaginary 虚构的想象的B. Controversial 有争议的 C. Effective 有效的 D. Luxurious 豪华的，从他的笑声可以辨识出来一个人的社会地位，这是一个有效的指标，所以第二题的标准答案就选择 C.Effective. 这是由这个 Assistant Professor Christopher Ovice was able to blank 3 the laughs of the high-status brothers, blank 3 those of the low-status brothers. 这位助教呢，他去研究这个兄弟会成员之间的一些谈话，他发现他能够怎么样呢？好，第三题的 A 选项Distinguish from 分辨 B. Prevent from 预防阻止 C. Transform into 转型成为 D. Divide into 分裂成为，他发现他能够去区辨一个高社会地位以及低社会地位的人所发出来的不同的笑声。搭配文意，我们第三题的标准答案就选择 A. Distinguish from。第四个空格除了可以区别他们之间的社会地位之外，第四个空格是一个语气转成词。When the researchers played the recordings to a group of undergraduate students, the students were able to accurately identify the dominant and submissive laughers. 那么除此之外呢，当研究人员在播放这样子的录音带给一群呢大学生的时候，学生也可以准确的呢来辨识出你是处于 dominant 主导地位，或者是 submissive 屈从地位的一个在笑声的人。而在这里都是在讲相同的一个事情，从这个笑声辨别出你不同的社会地位以及你所居于的主导或者是服从的地位。所以第四题的语气转成词可以选择 B 选项 Furthermore 在讲到相同的事情，所以第四题的标准答案我们就选择 B 选项。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, everybody, let's continue to talk about research about laughter and how if you laugh more, you'll live longer. So figure out a way to lighten up and look at the bright side of things instead of always being so pessimistic and negative and frowning all the time. Of course, most of our students out there, I'm sure, are a happy bunch.
Yeah.
But we're talking about Professor Ovice, Christopher Ovice of Cal San Diego. He conducted some research, and Ovice's study highlights the power dynamics inherent in such a social hierarchy, showing the more power someone has, the less inhibited their communication becomes. So this is sort of summarizing his research here. It highlights the power dynamics. To highlight just means to show us, basically, show us the main points. And these are power dynamics. Dynamics, of course, are things that go on in any kind of social situation. Dynamics, how things move, basically. Inherent means that they contain these things automatically. They're not really brought in from outside. Inherent. And these things are inherent in such a social hierarchy. Again, a series of levels going from low to high. So basically, yes, it's just telling us that those with more power laugh a certain way. Those with less power laugh another way.
That's right. So let's talk about what Ovice's study showed. As Tom was saying, it highlighted that power dynamic. You can also think of dynamics as sort of the force. So the power and the force of the power that was naturally there, inherent in that social hierarchy. I pronounce that hierarchy. Both pronunciations are correct. Showing the more power someone has, hey, the less inhibited their communication becomes. No kidding. So if you have a lot of power, you're really not as afraid of people, and you're not afraid to express your opinion, whether you're happy or angry. And if you're inhibited, you kind of hold back. You don't want to express yourself too much. You just want to kind of fade into the background. You don't want to have people looking at you. You don't want a lot of attention. If you're inhibited, you don't really express yourself fully. So it really does matter in terms of power, how these people behave.
Indeed. And of course, I guess if you're lower status, then you don't laugh as much. And I suppose by extension, you're not going to live as long as people with bold and high-pitched laughs, though. So figure out a way to laugh in different situations, even if that means laughing at yourself. But here in the next paragraph, it says, a more comprehensive study conducted by Greg Bryant from UCLA, University of California at Los Angeles. This is a more comprehensive study. Comprehensive in this particular case means more complete. I guess he asked more people about different things and had a wider range of questions and situations, etc. So according to Professor Bryant's study, Greg Bryant from UCLA, he found that laughter can also reveal two people's relationship status. Okay, so yeah, that's the relationship between people. You can tell if it's a man or two women talking to each other or two men talking to each other. And based on how they laugh, you can also know about their kind of relationship, I guess, in terms of who is more dominant and who is more submissive.
It's interesting, isn't it? Now, Greg Bryant, recorded the laughter between groups. He had groups of two women, two men, one man and one woman, you could say, only some of whom already knew each other. So in these groups, some of the folks had been friends before, knew each other, and some were strangers. So he then had them listen to each other. The listeners who listened to these groups of people were comprised or were made up of, that is who they were, 966 people. So he had quite a large group of listeners, and they came from various social classes and cultural groups. He had a lot of diversity in his group of listeners, and that's important because he wanted not only the laughers to be diverse, but he wanted the listeners to be diverse as well.
Pretty cool. So that's why we're calling this study comprehensive.
Yeah.
So it was comprised or made up of all these people from different social classes and cultural groups. And Bryant he discovered that listeners from every society could pinpoint which laughers might have been friends or strangers based upon a short audio clip 61% of the time. They weren't accurate 100% of the time, but 61% sounds like most of them, or the majority of the people, could tell whether the two people knew each other or whether they were strangers. And that makes sense. If you know each other, if you're talking to your friends, you're going to laugh in a different way than you would if you met somebody for the first time. If you met somebody for the first time, your laughter, I suppose, would be kind of constrained.
I don't know.
You
really?
wouldn't let yourself go so much because you don't want to look like an idiot or something like that to the other person. You need to trust the other person before you kind of let go and just laugh as loud as you can, just like Santa Claus.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I laugh the same with most everybody. I wouldn't laugh till I cried, though, with people I'm just meeting. That usually happens with good friends only.
Well, you probably don't want to laugh very much at a job interview, right?
I know.
You probably have to be pretty serious in that situation, or they'll think you're just a big joker.
Oh, but I have to say it's good to show that you have a sense of humor. No one wants to hire someone who's boring and doesn't have any sense of humor. That's not good either.
Yeah, you need to figure out the right balance there.
Yeah, it's a balance, isn't it? Here we're using this word pinpoint. If you pinpoint something, you find or locate the exact thing that you're looking for. He could pinpoint or find the laughers who might have been friends or strangers with really good accuracy. Think about that pin. The point of a pin is very small. So he was pretty accurate in finding the laughers who'd been friends before or strangers. They never knew each other based upon, this is what he used to make that decision, a short audio clip. He probably had an MP3. That's what I'm thinking of, an audio clip. 61% of the time, that's more than half of the time. So that's a majority of the time, you could say, he was able to identify or predict who were good friends and who were strangers. So that's pretty good. That's a good percentage for a researcher.
Sounds right. Just a short little audio portion, maybe, of 10 seconds or so. And so, yeah, I'd like to hear some of those myself and see how well I could do. But these research findings demonstrate, or they show us, just how complex human relationships can be. Here we've got the word demonstrate. As I said, it just means to show you something, to show the existence, to show the truth of something. It could also mean you kind of show someone how to do something or how to use something. Gee, I don't know how to use my new tablet computer. Could you demonstrate for me? Could you show me how to use it? I've never used one before.
We'll also have a lot of people who demonstrate new products or new types of foods in supermarkets, especially the big ones. You know, I go in and people have different types of tea for me to try, or cheese, or maybe some types of meat. They're demonstrating those new products. So these research findings demonstrate just how complicated, complex human relationships can be. Yeah, how we react and how we treat each other, how we behave. It's pretty complex, I must say. I don't think there's one particular way for everybody. We're all different.
And remember, this is all talking about laughter. There are lots of insights into laughter that we have talked about today. How it helps your health, how it demonstrates your status in a hierarchy, and also your relationship with other people, whether you're friends or strangers, etc., etc. Okay, that brings us to the end of our article for today. It's time now to listen once again to our Chinese teacher.
Ovice 的研究呢，其实就凸显了，其实在社会阶级中本来就会有一些的权力的一些动态，而在这里呢，第5个空格我们直接看后半句提到 showing the more power someone has, the less inhibited their blank 5 becomes. 你会发现呢，一个人拥有更多的权利，那么他们的什么就会变得更不受拘束。如果你看到前面的文章，你会发现地位高的人呢，他的笑声比较肆意，比较大声，音调比较高，也就是代表他拥有更多的权利，而他的沟通就会变得不受拘束。第5题 A 选项 communication 指的是与人的沟通跟对话。B. Construction 建造。C. Revolution 革命。D. Reputation 名誉，在这里指的是一种社会跟人的对话以及沟通，所以第5题符合文意，标准答案就选择 A. Communication。第6个空格在这里呢，同样的有另外一项研究也发现 Laughter can also blank 6 two people's relationship status。其实笑声也可以怎么样？两个人他们关系的状态。我们看一下第6题的 A 选项 overcome 征服， B. enforce 强制， C. reveal 显露， D. isolate隔离。小声也可以透露出两个人的关系状态，所以第6题的标准答案我们就选择 C. reveal。 第7个空格 Bryant found that listeners from every society could pinpoint which laughers blank 7 friends or strangers based upon a short audio clip 61% of the time。 这位 Brian 呢，他发现来自每个社群的聆听者其实都可以透过一段短短的声音简洁，可以准确率高达 61% 来指出这些发笑的人呢，他们的关系地位怎么样。那么在这里我们要针对过去的事情给予推测，我们第7题可以选择 D 选项的 might have been 来搭配这里的过去式。那么呢，这里就说到透过发笑者就可以辨别听他们的声音，辨别他们之间是朋友或者是陌生人的这样子的关系状态。 OK， 以上就是今天的课文讲解，谢谢收听。
That's it for That's it for today.
We were laughing, I know.
Yes, we had a good time today laughing. We should have laughed more, but of course we wouldn't have been able to explain things properly if we had been laughing so much. So, we'll laugh right now as we say goodbye. So everybody, have a good time, have a good laugh, and please join us next time. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.